Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Mingguang from University of Melbourne, but we also run a lab in Zhongshan Optometry Center, Sun Yat-sen University in China as well. 所以按照大会的要求呢，我们要用英文来发言。So today I'm going to walk you through a project on deploying artificial intelligence in real-world clinical settings. The story I'm going to share with you is really we'll talk about how we develop an algorithm and then how we deploy this AI as a solution, in particular in the context of like Australia clinical setting. So I will not. So this is my financial disclosure. So computer vision, deep learning is a hot topic with people talking about simple image classification and then constant objects detection and or even really far more challenging tasks, for example, self-driving vehicle. And then in medicine, ophthalmology is unique. Ophthalmology unique is in a way that is highly image driven. So we are talking about slit lamp photo. This is to examine your anterior segment of your eye. And this is a slit lamp photo, fundus photo, visual field testing, how well you can see in the peripheral vision, MRI, of course. And then this is a fundus, OCT, optical coherent tomographic scan, OCT scan on the fundus. Then you can see a cross-sectional historical type of imaging of your retina. And this is, of course, MRI or CT. So ophthalmology is highly image-driven again. People start to work on work out artificial intelligence in these four specific diseases: DR, AMD, glaucoma, and ROP. And the reason for doing that is because these four type of diseases, they're highly image-driven. For example, in the DR, you can see all these exudate, hemorrhage, ERMA changes. And the AMD, you can see the macular region, there's changes. In glaucoma, you can see the change on the optic disc. And the ROP and the peripheral retina, you can see all this proliferation as well. So there's a couple, actually deep learning or the first batch of top paper published actually in the ophthalmology. So this is the first paper, I think one of the first paper published on deep learning in medicine in JAMA, and it was done by a Google group. And then we also joined the efforts, a group of Singapore AI clinical team, and then published in JAMA 2017, and the methodology, and also try to transfer this what we learned from chest X-ray to more to medical, to retina classification. So all the efforts should start from data collection. So this is how we collect the data by we call it robotic system in the electronic medical record system. And then we build, we call it Label Me. It's a crowdsourcing system where we convene or collect about 200,000 real-world patients' data. And then these 200,000 patients, they actually come from different clinical setting, from 12 different type of fundus camera. And then we have clinicians. We invite a group of clinicians, of specialists, to grade this image and complete the grading for around 70,000 images. And then we primarily initially focus on DR, diabetic retinopathy, age-related macular degeneration, and glaucoma. So we also, in Australia, we also run the data linkage project where we enroll, actually identify patients from clinical setting, like for example, eye hospital from 2000 to 2020. So this is a historic group of patients. And then we work it out with Australia Institute of AIHW to help us link this patient, this particular big group of patients, with the MBS, like Medicare data, hospitalization data, so that we understand this large group of people with ocular imaging data available, how many of them actually die in the previous 10 years, and how many of them develop a cardiovascular event, for example. We call this data linkage project. So, and we also published the first paper on AI and the artificial intelligence in diabetic retinopathy, in diabetic case. At that time, it was surprising actually, but now it was not that surprising, because at that time we published it and then we report a very high AUC, accuracy, then also very good sensitivity and specificity. And more importantly, when you run an external validation, you can see this algorithm, AI algorithm, developed primarily in the Chinese patient. Actually, they also perform quite well in the Caucasian and Malay population people, but then it was a little bit compromised in the indigenous Australian, where the fundus is a bit highly pigmented. And then we did something similar for glaucoma classification. Again, you can see quite accurate, and then for AMD as well. And then at that time, people complain this CNN network is really a black box. So we developed at that time it's quite premature this heat map, but then we publish it, and then we share with people, confirm that actually CNN or deep learning actually based on similar feature characteristic or similar region of interest on the fundus to differentiate a diabetic retinopathy images or the glaucoma patient. So then we also set up a website where we can allow people to upload their image, and then they can test the performance of the AI algorithm. So a couple of seconds, then we can generate the list of classification, not just eye diseases, but stroke and biological age and so on. So we did something similar for OCT scan, upload an OCT scan, then it can classify in a couple of seconds for macular edema, Jusen, and CMV, and then also give you a heat map. So we did something similar for a retina fundus photo. Like after you upload the image into the website. This is a website, so it would generate automatic, we call it retina vessel segmentation in seconds, and then also calculate all these parameters. So we work with our partners in China. This is to deploy this artificial intelligence to create a model. We call it assisted reading center. So this is a countrywide or nationwide DR screening program. We talk about a huge amount of people being screened by the diabetic retinopathy program. So 140,000 per year. So the challenge is how to grade all these images that generated in the screening program. So we actually use the AI algorithm as a triaging system. So if you 4 images on the person is all supernormal or gradable, then we think this is that we use AI to generate a report. Otherwise, if there's any abnormalities identified or the quality is not good enough, justified by the AI, so it will be sent to manual grading. So we in this data, we demonstrated actually in the screening setting, because a lot of diabetic patients ran through this grading or screening program. Actually, they are 85% of them, they're all normal. So a lot of the AI reporting system actually quite useful in a way that nearly 70% of the report can be generated by AI. So this work significantly reduced the workload of our manual or image grading center. So then we also develop we call it offline point of care AI solution in Australia, because in Australia, there's indigenous people living in a remote area. So we a formal screening program highly depends on access to an eye professional. So now we use AI algorithm to reduce the dependency on eye professionals. So this is actually by a fully automatic fundus camera, and then we connect to a laptop and this and a printer. And this AI algorithm is offline. It's an offline solution. It doesn't require internet and GPU connection. So actually a very local technician is able to complete the screening, and that report is able to generate it by the AI system in one couple of seconds. So this a traditional AI diabetic screening program. You have the diabetic patient, the endocrinologist, everybody, all the patients got referred to see an eye professional. This is very costly, very expensive model. And then in NHS in UK, they actually develop a reading center. So in the screening, or after they screen the patient, and then they send the image to the reading center. So the reading center will send this report back to the eye professional. But the problem is they got a significant delay on the reporting because you won't be able to get the report on the same day. So this AI algorithm is very helpful. You can really be able to receive this AI report, the report at the same day for at least around 70 or 80% of the patient. And then that significantly improved the efficiency. So we also run a study to prove that actually the patient like it. The patient think this is a good idea, good solution. So quite a lot of them, 92% of them satisfied or happy with the AI-based screening. I mean, being screened by a machine, they are happy with this idea. And then this is in the real world clinical setting, we further prove what's the performance in the real world setting. So I'm not going to go through the details. And then we move further because if this algorithm is a research algorithm, I mean, in the research setting, so it won't be able to maximize its benefit to the community. So we just decide to spin out a startup. So just we call it Eye Intelligence. So then we pack this as a product, and then we got TGA, CE marking with approval for as regulatory approved, and then we just deploy this in the optometry setting. So you can see actually in the optometry setting, the clinicians, optometrists very busy, but they don't want to make one single mistake in their clinical practice. So AI become like a tool to standardize their care, the medical service. So this is the first TGA approved product, and then Bupa Optical utilized the system to create an AI machine or robot eye diseases screening program. So this is a report, and it's in their website. They call this solution or service as Eye Inspect. So this is a report they generate in the Eye Inspect program, and then they classify for a couple of diseases. But then why this is useful in a clinical practice, in particular optometry setting. So for example, for this type of patient, the change on the retina or the fundus and optic disc is quite mild, very little, where that they can see only a localized eye level defect. So it can be easily mixed by our clinician. So with the AI system, it generates an orange or amber color. So it really draw your attention to this photo or this patient, that this patient may have glaucoma. So and then on the visual field testing, actually confirm this is a true glaucoma patient, of course. And then in clinical practice, we also try to reduce the dependency on the examiner. So this is a DIY, do-it-yourself AI, we call it kiosk or booth. So this is, we combine the AI algorithm and automatic fundus camera and a lot of sensor to enable fully automatic screening program. So they based on the voice instruction, the patient, they can complete all this screening program by themselves without depending on the technician.
Please open your eyes now. Now, grading process.
So everything is automatic. You don't need a technician to help to collect the images. So then we also make a even more simple solution. So this is a desktop, fully automatic again, much smaller.
So that's pretty quick. Yeah.
So this is a low cost, affordable fundus camera, fully do it yourself, and then it can generate reasonably good images. And then the AI in combination with AI will really improve the accessibility in the GP setting. We also develop a new algorithm that before we can only detect 3 to 4 eye diseases, but now can do 139 and that cover almost all eye diseases in the textbook. And Microvascular Health, as what I mentioned before, very useful. Using the eye as a window of your body that can assess your how healthy is your microvascular system. And then we receive enormous grant, not enormous, a couple of grants from Australia federal government, for example, this one, the artificial intelligence to detect eye and cardiovascular disease. So this is the idea is to develop this as a solution and translate this into community benefit and product. So finally, I just want to acknowledge the grant body that support a lot of our work, and then our industry partner and research institute partner as well. So I think alone we can do very little, but if we work together, we can achieve more. Thank you very much.